Privyet, Dobry din, good afternoon guys, and welcome back to the channel. And today we've got another video for you, and we're going to be talking all about a very important topic actually that we constantly get messages about at the moment. It's all about getting a SIM card here in the Russian Federation. So let's get to it. So last year, basically the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, issued a decree to limit the amount of mobile phones people can use. Now, in my personal opinion, I think this is a really good law, a good decree, because what it does, it cracks down on fraud and it cracks down on illegal use. Where I'm from in the UK, there's no due diligence, no background checks. You can have a million different SIM cards and you can use them for all different kinds of potentially illegal activities and things that aren't so good. So what Russia's actually doing here is they're bringing this legislation in to protect people and protect citizens and residents here in Russia. There's two different limits to worry about. You guys are probably going to be most interested in the foreigner limit, which is 10 SIM cards. If you are a Russian citizen watching, you can actually have 20 SIM cards against your name. So it's 10 and 20, depending on who you are and what your status is in the country. Now, I'm going to say, look, this policy also applies to tourists as well. This is where it's become a little bit inconvenient. And I think potentially something needs to change or something needs to be done around this. Because say, for example, you come into Russia for a few days or a week. You can't any longer just pop in at the airport to one of the SIM card sales counters, get your SIM card for $5 or whatever for unlimited data or as much as you would need for that stay in Russia. There is a process involved now. And I know now coming to Russia on an international SIM card can be quite costly, whereas the local SIM cards are extremely cheap, especially by European or American standards, where, you know, when you go to America at the moment, even the UK, you could be looking at anywhere from 20, 30, 50 euros / USD, depending on what currency you're using, for a week's worth of usage. So it can be expensive. And I'm pretty sure if you're then roaming on a international SIM card here, you are going to rack up that bill. So you do want to get your SIM card, your local SIM card, as soon as possible. So let's get into exactly what you need to do. Now, if you're coming to Russia as someone who wants to move here, so whether it's on a shared values visa, a work visa, etc., a lot of these steps you're going to need to take anyway, because certain elements of this you're going to need for later on down the track. But even here as a tourist, you can still get access to these items that I'm going to talk about now. So the number one thing that you need to do, number one on the list, is you need to obtain a SNILS number. Now, what is a SNILS number? A SNILS number is basically your tax ID number for Russia. So it's a number that's linked to the social fund of Russia. So if you're a citizen, for example, same as like in the UK or the US, there's social benefits, there's money that you can obtain from the government for living expenses, for example, if you're unemployed. Obviously, for foreigners and people visiting, that isn't going to apply, but it's all under the same office and it's all connected to pensions and all that kind of stuff, like it is in the UK or anywhere else in the world. In the UK, you have what's called a national insurance number. Here you have a SNILS number. So you're going to get your SNILS number. Now, in order to obtain your SNILS number from the government, this is very important, guys. You're going to need a translated copy of your passport. So wherever you're from, your international passports, you're going to need a translated copy. And that has to be notarized, by the way. So you have to make sure you're visiting someone that has the authority to notarize it, or you're translating it and then going to a notary service to actually get that signed off and notarized. Once you've obtained the certified notarized copy of the translation, you need to obviously get your SNILS issued. How do you do that? You visit the Social Fund of Russia. You can visit the website, sfr.gov. There's also a website, so things you can have a look online in terms of where the nearest centre is for you. And you go along with this document, with your original passport, the copy of passport with the notarized translation. They will then issue you with the SNILS number. Now, what do you have to do next? So once you've got a SNILS number, that enables you to register for the public services portal in Russia called Gosuslugi. Gosulugi. So that's simply the name for the public services portal. So everything that you need to do in terms of government services is done via this portal. There's an iPhone and Android app you can download on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store directly to your phone, whatever device you have, or you can access it from your regular browser. If you have got a bank account here, you can register for it and access it via your bank account, but most people initially won't, because you actually need to obtain the phone number before you can then open the bank account. So that's another issue to overcome, and why it's obviously very important to get a local SIM card here in Russia as well. So again, the public services portal isn't just for if you're living here. So it is a portal where, you know, it's going to hold a history, it's going to hold a record of your visits in and out of Russia, and anything you do in terms of your communication and activities with the government. Obviously, if you're a visitor, what's on there is going to be very limited. If you live here, if you're a resident, it's going to be a bit more advanced. If you're a citizen, you're going to have access to pretty much everything on there within that portal. You're going to register for the public services portal. As soon as you've got the SNILS, they'll ask you a few other details in terms of your passport number, expiry date, who you are, etc. They probably cross-reference that with your entry into Russia and your visa, so everything's tied together. And it can be done, like I say, through your bank, but it's best, in my experience, to register for that first, so then you're fully set up prior to actually going to the bank. And you can obviously register online pretty easy. It's just gosuslugi.iu. It doesn't always work online with foreign passports and things like that. It may ask you to go to a local MFC public services centre. And again, you can find that online. If you just do a quick search for this information, you can get access to that very easily. And normally there's a map on there, and it will ask you to put in your address or where you're staying. It will give you your nearest centre. Then we go to step 5, which is the biometrics registration. So we've had number 1, translate passport. Number 2, get your SNILS. Number 3, taking your passport to get the notarized translation. Number 4, registering for Gosuslugi government services portal. And then number 5, we have to obtain the biometric. So how do you do that? You take your passport, the notarized translation for that, the SNIL and the SNILS number, as well as your email address or phone number of a local operator. But obviously you haven't probably got the local number yet, so an email address is absolutely fine. And you basically go into a bank, it can be any bank, to actually pass the biometrics with your voice and your face. And you'll obviously need, like I say, the email address to obviously get that set up. It's a really quick thing to do. It takes a few minutes. You shouldn't have any issues with that whatsoever. Literally a few seconds and you'll be done with that. And then you can actually move on to the SIM card purchase. So with the SIM card purchase, you just have to take your passport and notarized translation and the IMEI number of your device to a mobile phone office. There'll be a contract you have to sign. The employee from the mobile phone office will get a contract. You'll have a look through that. It'll probably be in Russian, but I wouldn't really worry too much about the details. It's pretty standard stuff. You have to sign off that, check all your bio data, bits and pieces, and then you have to either take that confirmation back to the public services. Sometimes they'll do it for you, but ultimately they need to check that all of the data adds up. They link everything up to your name in terms of the Gosuslugi, all of the portals, SNILS, your biometrics, etc. And they will activate the SIM card after that's verified. So they'll give you a SIM card immediately. It can take some time to activate, but in my experience, it could take sort of 2-3 days or so to actually get that activated and up and running for you. So it's quite a process. Once you've done it, you'll have a local number. You'll then be able to use that for opening the bank accounts. We'll do another video at some point on actually how you go about that. Obviously, our company and our concierge service actually helps guide you through all of this, so you don't need to worry too much about what to do, when to do it, etc. Our team can step in and actually hold your hand through the process, and the same with the bank accounts as well. I believe there is one account in one bank. If you did really want a bank before that or need a bank before that, they will accept a foreign number on there. But the only thing is, I would say, if people do that, it's probably not too important if they're just visiting here as a tourist. But if they're coming here to live, it could affect the ability to transfer money in and out of the account, because in Russia, everything is linked to your mobile number. So if you want to transfer money to someone, you'll put in the Russian mobile number. If someone wants to transfer money to you, they'll use your mobile number. The other way to transfer internally is via a card number, but you're limited to what you can transfer and things. And obviously, if you're wanting to move here, you're probably going to be transferring quite a bit of money, and it's just going to be more efficient to use that local number. And we obviously offer the FX services and things as well to be able to facilitate that, but it's always a number that we'll ask for when we're doing that. The bank I'm thinking of, you can change a number later, but it is just a hassle. You might as well get set up when you're here, get it all sorted, so you don't need to worry about that anymore going forward, and you just set up then for your time within Russia. One other thing I want to talk about in terms of the mobile phones, a lot of companies will say, look, do you want a standard number or do you want a VIP number? Sometimes they may not ask you, but it's good to know this anyway, because I'd always suggest go for a VIP number. It's only about, I mean, 10 to 15 US dollars, about 1,000 rubles. And you can just get a number that's easy to remember. It's normally one that consists of easy to remember numbers in particular phrases, particular orders, etc. That it just goes into the brain a lot easier. And if you're like me and using your phone a lot and dealing with a lot of different people and needing to hand your number to people, it's always good to obviously have a number that you can remember. So I would say, for the sake of 1,000, get yourself a VIP number. They'll give you a list. You can choose a number from a list of probably about 10 numbers I'll put in front of you, and you'll be set up in no time. But that's it for today's video, really. It's pretty simple. It sounds a lot more complicated than it is, but there are quite a few steps that you need to get right. And like I say, things like Gosuslugi and SNILS and all of that kind of stuff, if you are going to be moving here and you intend to do a TRP application later on, you're going to need all of this stuff set up anyway. So it's a good setup, a good foundation for your time here in Russia. And it is worth obviously making sure everything is set up in the best way possible. Everything's just going to be more effective as you go forward with the rest of your applications and things you need to get sorted while here. So I'd say that's it for today. If you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up below. If you've got any questions at all, please don't hesitate to either leave a comment in the comment section below. Our email address and things are there as well, so feel free to reach out to the team, and we will endeavour to obviously get back to you as soon as possible. And until then, we'll see you in another video, and hopefully see you all in Moscow at some point in the near future. Bye for now.